and Hokahe. BOOZHOO, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. Huh, sweetie? That's right. How you doing? I'm doing great. How are you? Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Natasha. BOOZHOO, everybody. And, yeah. How you doing, everyone? Looks like Heather Jackson's here. Heather's here, sweetie. BOOZHOO, Heather. And, Weesanie, too. BOOZHOO, Weesanie. What's up? So, yeah. We're here on a Saturday morning. On a Gazibigi Saganake Gijagud. On the floor washing day. Oh, the sacred floor washing day. Did you get my special gift? Your special gift? What? Well, I got you that one present that every girlfriend wants. What's that? I got you a mop. Because it's floor washing day. I got you a little apron and a mop bucket. And I threw out your shoes. Why did you do that? Because that's what I want you. I want you cleaning the floors. I want you pregnant and barefoot in the kitchen. Because I'm traditional. Okay. Really? You cool with that? I don't care. I'm traditional too. Well, all right then. I was kind of kidding, but I actually didn't buy you a mop. I kind of wish I did. So yeah, today. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Today is Saturday. Gazibigi Sagana Gay Geisha Good. It is floor washing day. In the Anishinaabe way, Saturdays were reserved for the sacred act of sweeping, vacuuming, mopping the floors. So sacred was clean floor to us that we that's what we call Saturdays. Floor washing day. And you have been watching BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I am NANABOOZHOO. What are you doing? What, I did the word of the day. Let's wrap it up. That's not long enough. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, how long do I have to keep doing this? I don't know. We usually do an hour. An hour? I gotta think of stuff to say for a full hour? It's never been a problem before. Yeah, I guess that's true. All right. So, what do you guys want to talk about? No, I'm just kidding. I got all kinds of stuff planned. So today is Gazibigis, whatever. Today's a gibberish cartoon. Check this out. Ijada, Bemidji Gamug. Ijada. There's a little Ojibwe here. For anybody new to the show, hey, BOOZHOO, Chris. Chris is here, sweetie. BOOZHOO, Chris. So here's a little drawing that Michael did of an Ojibwe. An Ojibwe is a red squirrel. Ojibwe. And he's saying, let's go to Bemidji. Bemidji. And a lot of people this time of year are saying this to themselves. They go, hey, we should go fishing. Where should we go fishing? Let's go to Bemidji. Because it's, oops, that's the next thing. Hold on. Ija is go to. But in the Anishinaabe Moan, in the Indian language, to say let's do something, you add a da at the end of the word. So here Jidemu is saying, Ija da. Let's go. Ija da. Not maja da, which would be let's leave. Ija da is let's go. Like we're going somewhere. And then Bemidji Gamug is the name of, this town. Our town, huh, sweetie? Yep. This is a town we're filming from. And in Ojibwe, Bemidji Galmug means the lake of the crossing waters. Because I think it has something to do with maybe the river. Yeah, I don't know. Lake of the crossing waters. Bemidji Galmug. And no, it's not the name of Shena Wishkong. Chief Bemidji. Chief Bemidji, his name was actually the man who rattles. And people think Bemidji was named after somebody, a big chief. Oh, I'm the chief Bemidji. No. There's a dumb story about that. I won't get into. You guys probably already know. So yeah. So this is Michael Lyons, rock star cartoonist. How you doing, Niji? Oh, I'm doing great. How are you? Oh, not too bad. He draws these cartoons and it teaches the Ojibwe word of the day. And since we're talking about Michael here, let me get rid of this. And let me get rid of that. So, a lot of you are already familiar with this, but this show, BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, we kind of got our start because Michael was sharing comic strips like this online. He had a Facebook page and he was like, "Hey kids, why don't you learn some Ojibwe?" And but then people would write in, they'd be like, "How do you pronounce that now?" What is ZH? Eyes ha? What does eyes hada? Eyes hada? So then, we kind of went, you know what? What if I came up here and I could pronounce the words for people? And but along with the comic strips, Michael's also written and illustrated some Ojibwe language books. And one of those books is called Dog and Maingan. Dog and Maingan, sweetie. Yep. And Dog and Maingan is a book about, and it's not really about much of anything, but it teaches children how to count to 10 in Ojibwe. And a couple of, 10 animal names. And, I was thinking, sweetie, might be fun. What's that? Let's call the Count from Sesame Street up. And we'll ask him if he wants to count with us. Yeah, it's a great idea. Hold on, I'll get him on the line. The Count. Dog and Maingan. Okay, it's ringing. Hello, is this the Count? Hi, this is Natasha from the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast. How you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. Say, you want to be on the show this morning? Okay. All right, sweetie, I got him punched into line 2. Okay. BOOZHOO Count, welcome to the show. Welcome to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO. Yes, hello. Hello, NANABOOZHOO. How are you today, my friend? Oh, I'm doing pretty well. How are you? Oh, I'm doing very well indeed. I had a busy night. Oh, really? What were you doing? I was flying around town as a bat. Oh, yeah. I forget. You're a vampire too, aren't you? Yes. And then I would sneak in on my prey, and I would bite them on their necks and drink their blood. Okay. Kind of gross, but whatever. Say, I was wondering if you would help me count to 10 this morning. In Ojibwe Moen? Yeah. I would love to, because as you know, I love to count. I love to count in any language. Yeah, okay. So today, we're going to count to 10 in Ojibwe. And I actually went about pulling up the Ojibwe for a change. Yes, that will be very helpful. Very helpful indeed. All right. So let's do it this way. How about, actually, you know what? I did this backwards, didn't I? All right, Count. Can you read the Ojibwe and then I'll just say the English? Yes, I would love to. All right, go ahead. Why don't you start with number 1? Number 1, Beijing. Okay, hang on a second, dude. We talked about this. What is that? You can't just laugh after everything you say. People are getting annoyed. Oh, sorry. It's a nervous tick. Yeah, I know, but can you kind of keep it down? Yeah, sure. All right. Anyway, so let's start over. And tell you what, why don't you just count in English and I'll pronounce the Ojibwe. Okay. To begin with, 1, Beijing. 2, Nij. 3, Niswe. 4, Niwin. 5, Nanan. 6, Ningod Waswe. 7, Nij Waswe. 8, Nish Waswe. 9, Jongaswe. 10, Medaswe. You have counted to 10 in the Ojibwe language. It is so beautiful. All right, thanks. Now you try it. Oh, do I dare? Yeah, go ahead. I'll count you in. All right, Count. What is the Ojibwe word for 1? Beijing. 2, Nij. 3, Niswik. 4, Niwin. 5, Nanan. 6, Ningod Waswi. 7, Nij Waswi. 8, Nish Waswi. 9, Jongaswe. And 10, Medaswe. Now I can count to 10 in Ojibwe. Yeah, good job. I just noticed we have a typo here. It's not Nin-Od Waswi. It's Nin-God with a G. Yeah, I remembered that, so I pronounced it. Yeah, nicely done there, Count. Oh, wow. You're becoming pretty fluent, I would say. I watch your show every day. Do you really? No, actually, I watch it in rerun at night because during the day I like to sleep. Oh, that's right. You sleep during the day and are up all night flying around town. Yes, that is correct. All right. So what else? You got plans for the weekend? Yes, it's Memorial Day on Monday. Yeah, that's right. And so I plan to go out to a picnic and, hang out with my friends. That sounds pretty good. Go have a picnic with your friends. And, do you have anybody in your family who, was not a veteran, but somebody who died in war? No, that's ridiculous. We are vampires. We never die. Well, unless somebody puts a stake in your heart. Oh, yes, that's right. And the sun, that'll kill us too. But, no. I'm just taking the day off to, have a good time. Memorial Day should be spent in celebration. Should it? Or is it a time to remember and reflect and have a memorial? Yeah, I guess that's probably true too. I don't know. So you're gonna have a picnic with your buddies, and you don't have to work on Monday? Nope. Sesame Street gives us holidays off. Okay, that's great. And anything else going on in your life? Oh, no, that's about it. I just walk around counting things. That's sort of my thing. Okay, that's cool. All right, well, I better get back to the show then. All right. Well, hey, how do you say I will see you again in Ojibwe Mowin? You would say, Gigawaba min minowa. Gigawaba min minowa. Ah, ah, ah. Okay, count. Gigawaba min minowa, Niji. That counts so funny, huh, sweetie? I love when he calls in. He's so crazy. Yeah. I mean, I don't really approve of the, his lifestyle. What do you mean? I don't know, the blood sucking and the biting and that vampire stuff. Well, don't you have to be, like, culturally sensitive? You think I need to be, like, more multicultural and accept the vampire's way of life? Yeah, that's just their way. Maybe it's not our way, but, we should celebrate multiculturalism. Yeah, okay. You make a good point. I should quit being so close-minded about, the undead. Yeah. How you guys doing? So there you go. Counting to 10. Dog and my Ingun. Hey, you know what, sweetie? What's that? We could just play the Dog and my Ingun video, and you and I could read the text. Yeah, let's do that. All right. So here's what Dog and... Okay, so Dog and my Ingun... Let me go back to this. I think... Was Dog and my Ingun your first children's book? Was it my first children's book? Yeah, I think it was, actually. Just straight up, for kids in Ojibwe. This was the first one. I had done comic strips and stuff, but this is the first published book. Okay. So this book, Michael wrote, and what I like about it, the dog is called Dog and my Ingun. And so dog is English for, dog. But my Ingun is Ojibwe for wolf. And so in this book, the wolf speaks Ojibwe and the dog speaks English. What is that cat doing out there? I don't know. What are you doing, Bagheera? Sometimes Bagheera gets kind of hyper after he eats. I know. I get sleepy, but he wants to run around. That's our cat, Bagheera. So let's how about you read the dog, the English, and I'll read my Ingun, the wolf. Okay. All right. So here we go. Dog and Ingun, available now at Amazon.com. And let's see if this works. Dog and my Ingun. Hello. BOOZHOO. 1. Beijig. 1 dog. Beijig Anamosh. 1 wolf. Beijig my Ingun. 2. Nij. 2 eagles. Nij Migazi Wog. 3. Niswe. 3 bears. Niswe Mukwug. 4. Ni win. 4 raccoons. Ni win AC Banang. Nanan. 5. Wait. 5 deer. Nanan Wawa Shigeshiwug. Some deer. This thing's going fast. 6. Ningod Waswi. Some crows. Ningod Waswi. Hey, I can't read this. 7. Nij Waswi. 7 rabbits. Nij Waswi Wabuzug. 8. Ish Waswi. 8 squirrels. Ish Waswi Misa Jidamug. 9. Jangaswi. 9 birds. Jangaswi Beneshi Yag. 10. Medaswi. 10 butterflies. Medaswi Mamengwag. Miigwech. Thank you. Dog and my Ingun. Available at Amazon.com. But don't read it to your kid that fast. Yeah, no kidding. We just have to race through that. Yeah. I mean, could you imagine sitting down with your little kid, tuck him into bed? Okay, I'm going to read you a bedtime story. And turn on some frantic acoustic guitar music. And you and I are reading that book as fast as possible. All right, now go to bed. Go to sleep. I don't know. Anyway, dog and my Ingen. And that's in, do you remember how to say halfway moon? A beta Jesus. Very good. And here's the wolf. He's singing to the Abita Jesus. And that little dog, he's playing a harmonica. So there you go. All right, enough of that. Enough of that. Something's still playing. So, what should we talk about today? You want to talk about Michelangelo? Yeah, we could. Because we're classy like that. Today's classy moment of class on BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO. I would like to take a moment to reflect and to go down the rabbit hole once again. Oh, good. Jessica's here. BOOZHOO, Jessica. And Always Learning's here too. BOOZHOO, Always Learning. And Papa Bagosh. I didn't even notice you. How you doing? BOOZHOO Crew's filing in. Yeah, well, we started kind of early. Oh, that's right. Well, that's good. So did you hear about the latest Mandela Effect? Having to do with Michelangelo? Yeah. Well, are you going to talk about the creation of Adam or the Moses sculpture? The Moses thing. Yeah. Well, I mean, both, really. But, sometimes, we like to talk about conspiracies here. Or just rabbit hole. They're not even conspiracies. I should quit using that term. Mysteries. And one of the mysteries that I've been thinking about lately has been this thing called the Mandela Effect. And it's where there's been these weird changes in, like, movie quotes and trademark or whatever, logos or whatever. The Berenstain Bears, how it was spelled, whatever. And one was, and I don't have a picture of this, but Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam. It's one of those frescoes, the paintings on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. And it's a real famous painting. And it's got God on the right side. He's stretching out his hand, and Adam's lying down. He's, and their fingers almost touch. Well, in the dimension that I'm from, before all these weird changes, God was above Adam, naturally. He was higher in the painting, and he was reaching down to Adam. Now, and I'm really sorry I didn't pull up a picture, but now they're on the same level. And you go, what? That is a little creepy. And it's just like, I totally remember watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and the lady said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" She didn't say magic mirror. But in this dimension, she says magic mirror. In this dimension, God and Adam are on the same level. So, if you're really interested, you can look that up. But, so, for some of you younger people, Michelangelo is just my favorite artist. He lived, like they say, in the 1500s. Who knows? You can't trust anything about history. But apparently this was his self-portrait. And, you can tell he's a really good drawer. I mean, compare that to, not the same. This guy can draw better than Michael. No offense, Michael. Lyons. None taken. So Michelangelo, he did the Statue of David, he did all this stuff. But one of the things that they say is a Mandela Effect change was that apparently now in the Bible, when Moses comes down with the 10 Commandments, he's got these 2 stone tablets with, words carved in them, and he's sporting horns. You know about this, sweetie?
Well, I did because we watched it together, but not before it.
Yeah. And apparently in the Bible, it mentions how 2 horns, when he came down, 2 horns maybe grew from his head or from his face or something. And there's been some biblical, discussion about, maybe it was from this weird Hebrew word that meant rays of light. He might have had 2 rays of light coming from his head. It's like, well, either way. But Michelangelo did this sculpture of Moses. And he's got horns. So at least Michelangelo, in this dimension, when Michelangelo lived, he carved, in the 1500s, Moses with horns. And not, this isn't the devil. This is Moses. He's got the, whatever. And, you could make an argument that, well, so what? Just because pop culture shows the devil with horns doesn't mean it's evil. Maybe he grew horns for some reason. Deer grow horns, and goats and bulls and pigs, so maybe a human did. But the other thing I thought was interesting about this, in the Bible, it says that Moses lived 120 years. And look how buff this guy is. Of course, maybe Michelangelo just decided this. But also, that beard, he probably did look like this. If you're living to be 120 years old, like in those days, number one, you could grow a beard that would be longer than your hair. I mean, that beard goes down to his waist. And he's just ripped. I bet you these Bible people looked a lot more like superheroes than your Sunday school teacher probably told you about. But anyway, horns on Moses. Hey, sweetie.
What's that?
What did Moses say when he came down from the mount with the tablets?
What? Don't you dare.
Oh, I'm really horny.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so there's there you go, Moses. And this, just forget it, you guys. If I'm going to dog artists, I have to give credit. People can't do this anymore. I don't know of any living artist who can carve anything close to this. Certainly not in marble. But look at that. The fabric, the details of like the little strap on his arm, his toes. Look at like that back toe being crunched. How in the world Michelangelo was a superhero? Michelangelo probably looked like this. So, I don't know, man. You want to talk about superheroes? This is my superhero. Because he had superhero powers. Michelangelo. And no, he didn't join the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Every time I got to clarify. People are like, oh yeah, I love Michelangelo and Donatello and Da Vinci. No. This is the real Michelangelo. Although I think his friends called him Mike.
You think his friends called him Mike?
Yeah, probably. And if you live to be 120 and were in great shape, I bet you would get pretty good at whatever your art was. You know? Like, this is one thing I've always thought, even when I was young, that it's a shame that all the artists, especially like musicians, that we pay attention to are in their 20s. Because when you're only in your 20s, I mean, you only have so much life experience. You know, this is why pop music is so, I don't know, shallow. Because they're young, you know. And to be a great artist, it takes years of practice and refining your skill and getting good at something. And Michelangelo, maybe he drew this when he was 95, but was built like a 30-year-old. You know? I don't know. I've given up thinking that anything I learned in history I can count on. Like, especially dates. So I don't trust when they say, oh, he lived in the 1500s. It's like, well, how do you know? But we still have his art, so we at least know that he existed. You know? And, yeah. Michelangelo, kids. Papa Ogosh says, Michelangelo's statue of David is one of the most important artworks ever created with marble, but I've always taken it for granted. Yeah, I've always taken it for granted too. Oh, Papa Ogosh, you cracked me up. Should we find, I have a picture of David. Let me see if I can find it. Where is David? I've been suspicious of David too. Just that it became his most famous work. I cut out the nasty part. But yeah, insanely good. You know. And the story is a mystery too. You know, if it wasn't for this sculpture, maybe they would have stopped talking about the story of when a regular sized person killed a giant. You know? That's on an official record that a man killed a giant. Say what you want about God, but evidence of the existence of giants. Masabe. Sometimes I wonder if they weren't all giants. Maybe these sculptures are life size. Maybe, I don't know. What if David was 30 feet tall or something? A little more of a fair fight then. So, yeah, David. And he's supposed to be a kid here. I always pictured him being really young when I was a kid. They would talk about when David was a boy. It was like a boy of, I don't know, 17 maybe. I don't know. And in those days, I don't think boys are like boys are in our day. Okay. So anyway, what were we talking about?
Oh, we were telling personal stories about Missy.
Oh, yeah. We're telling those embarrassing personal stories about Missy. All right. So anyway, as I was saying, oh, geez, Missy's here. Shut up, you guys. Good morning, Missy. How you doing? Nobody was talking about you in your wild past. No. Good morning, Missy. What else is going on? We were just talking about Michelangelo, as you do. Because this show is classy like that. Real classy like. So Papa Wagosha's having some makare mashkiki wabu refill. Yeah. How much do I have left in my... I'm out. You want to get me a cup of coffee, sweetie?
Yeah, sure.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Natasha.
BOOZHOO, everybody.
You see, that's what I'm talking about. Tradition. She's a traditional woman. Oh, look at me, I'm so traditional. You know, I'm standing out here leading a rally. No, that's not traditional, you guys. Traditional is being a supportive woman like Natasha. You know, I grew up in a time when feminism or whatever, they really kind of shamed like the mother, the homemaker. You know, they called her a housewife. But, you know, a traditional Indian woman put everybody in front of her. You know, she took care of the kids, but she also took care of the men. And she took care of the elders. And sometimes it looked like that. Like doting on them, like getting them coffee, making a sandwich. I mean, I kind of joke about it, but, you know, that old barefoot and pregnant. We joke like that, not because we think being barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen is bad. We do it because women in the workplace who are jealous of the women who stay home have made that like an insult, you know. But I don't think it's an insult. I appreciate it. I'd be lost without you, huh, honey?
What are you talking about?
Oh, how you're kind of traditional. You get me coffee, and you know you cook and you clean, and you know you don't seem all resentful about it.
Why would I be resentful about it?
Well, you know, because you know don't want to be pigeonholed. Oh, that's woman's work or something.
Yeah, a lot of women are kind of like mad. There's this constant battle of assuming that, you know, they're being treated unfairly or something.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of, it sort of goes along with this whole victim status thing. Like if they can't be victims of racism, they want to be victims of sexism or victims of whatever.
Yeah.
So then even somebody you love that you're taking care of, you know, you go, oh, you're a patriarchy. You make me have to, you know, take care of the children. It's like, what? Well, I'm their mother. Why wouldn't I take care of their children?
Exactly. I don't know. Should have talked about this on Mother's Day. But why don't you guys cut mothers a break? And I think it's high time we start to appreciate the traditional woman who stays home, cooks and cleans, you know, makes a homemaker. And that isn't just, you know, washing the floors on Saturday. Gizibigi sagana gay, gives you good. Oh yeah, for you latecomers. I think this all started with me talking about washing floors. Gizibigi sagana gay, gives you good. The floor washing day, Saturday. You know, my mom was a working woman or whatever. But she was also a homemaker. She had like 2 jobs. And, you know, of course she couldn't be as good of a homemaker as somebody who was at home full time. She was a part-time homemaker. So meaning she cooked and cleaned and did all that stuff too. But she would have to outsource like babysitting and stuff. Babysitters. Pay for babysitters to come in. And what else? Where was I going with this? Oh, floor washing day for you latecomers. Gizibigi. Oh, and being traditional. Traditional roles. That's what it is. Having traditional gender roles. has been under attack. They think it's bad. Because they think men are bad. They think, oh, these gender roles, they're gender stereotypes. That's oppressing me as a woman. And you go, oh, okay. And for the record, I don't want to go out and go to war and hunt. I'd rather stay and play with the kids. But if it came down to it, my role in the family would be to go and fight in a war, hunt, protect, take a bullet for the family. My natural instinct would be to just let that bullet fly by and hit Natasha square in the chest. What? I mean, theoretically. But because of my traditional values, I couldn't do that. I'd have to protect her. So what's wrong when a woman's traditional and she's raising a child and she's cooking the meals and she's doing the dishes? Doing the dishes isn't a punishment any more than arranging the furniture, hanging up some pictures, Natasha is constantly rearranging in here, but this is all Natasha.
Yeah, huh?
She's a homemaker. She cleans the floors, she arranges the furniture, she creates an ambience, she cleans the toilets. You know what I do? I drink beer and I watch football.
You do not.
No, but I would if I had to, because that's my traditional role. Nah. Let's see. Papa Ghosh says, being traditional is not a bad thing if it's what anyone wants. Yeah. See, Papa Ghosh is older. He knows. He hasn't been he's still pretty base. Jessica says, they think it's bad to use the words mom and dad now too. Yeah. Don't gender your parents. They're just folk or adults. Okay, here we go. That's an excellent point, Jessica. They don't want, Let's count this. This is what I want to talk about today. It's graduation weekend for a lot of kids. Get rid of this. And so, let's call this part of the show, Dear Graduates, advice from your uncle, Nanaboozhoo. And this has something to do with being traditional, but also all this, you've been brainwashed. And I don't care especially if you're a college grad. This especially goes to college graduates. But if you're a high school graduate, you're pretty brainwashed too, probably. And I'm not saying I wasn't. I was too when I was your age. But this is advice to graduates having to do with all this stuff. So, congratulations, graduates of 2000, what year is it? 21. How lucky you are to get me to be your keynote speaker today on this commencement, the ending of one thing and the beginning of another thing. So saith Harry Osborn's dad, the Green Goblin, in the first Spider-Man movie. Anyway, so you're graduating. And you've just spent a lot of time with educated people who've been filling your head full of a lot of what they call political correctness, critical race theory, Marxism, socialism, whatever. And you think you've been opening your mind. They tell you, we're going to teach you to think critically. Well, now you got that degree. You did all their work. You jumped through all their hoops. They signed a little piece of paper and they're handing it to you. They said, congratulations. And their empty promises of that this will do something for you is about to be made clear. But here's a couple of things I learned since I graduated, which might help you. Number one, say goodbye to your safe space. There's no such thing in the real world. Only in colleges and high schools Is there even such a concept? It doesn't exist. You know, a lot of people will do stuff like, oh, this is a trigger warning. We're going to talk about something dangerous here on the media or in college. That never happens in real life. Your trigger warning, your triggers, you got PTSD from something, and if somebody talks about a certain thing, you're going to get emotional. That's your problem. Nobody else is going to dance around it, you know. So, say goodbye to the safe space. Don't expect anybody to care. People might care. You might earn a person's love and care. I'm not saying no one's going to care about you, but you're not entitled to care. So in colleges these days, and forever actually, even in my day, I've been doing this for decades. Everything they're teaching you is, they say, to kind of prepare you to make the world a better place. You know, if you understand history, you know, you won't repeat the bad stuff. You know, and they taught you little catchphrases that you'll carry with you. Those who don't learn from history are bound to repeat it. As though repeating history is bad. You know, like everything that our ancestors did and went through was negative. We must only move forward. But they never teach you to critically question the history you're taught or your teachers. You know, Indian people get a taste of this with the Columbus story. Like, okay, here's a little look behind the curtain. This Columbus story, it's totally racist, man. The people who wrote this story is political agendas and racism, and it's all corrupted, and it didn't really happen this way, you know. And they'll let you believe that much. But they won't let you believe, okay, JFK, okay, that history, you know, none of that, it went down the way it did. You know, nobody saw the assassination of JFK on TV. Those films that came out, that happened weeks later. The Zapruder, whatever film. People heard about JFK getting assassinated. And then that film came out weeks later. Who knows what really happened? Did he even get shot? No one knows. But you're taught that it's historical fact. I don't know. Am I still talking to the graduates here? Sort of. All right. So question everything you were just taught. It's probably a lot of nonsense. At least for me, when I graduated from college, it took 20 years probably. Later, I went, oh, none of that stuff was real. I'm so glad I didn't major in anything important, because everything I learned is totally fiction. You know, not fiction so much, but it was so slanted and so political. I didn't even know that it was just propaganda. You know, like I was just an English major. You know, we just read old books. And Wisani, Ojibwe phrase of the day. Goodbye, safe space. You go up in safe space. What would safe be? Well, yeah. Oh, and by the way, Miigwech for the $5 super chat. Wisani just gave us $5 super chat. Yeah, I love that comment too. Anyway, yeah, just know that there's been so much conditioning from every angle. From advertising to the movies, to the music, to your education, history, liberal arts, Certainly science, all that stuff. You got to go through again when you get out of school and go, okay, how much of that was complete crap? A lot of us, by the time we get out of college, are completely devoid of a spiritual life. I was almost an atheist. Look at that. But then finally, when it comes to the graduating class of 2021, I heard this in one graduation speech, and I thought it was really smart. It goes, be for something. When you're in college, it's always being against something. You're going to march against racism. You're going to march against, pro-life, or pro-choice, whatever. You're really taught how to be against stuff, how to fight for change, whatever. But your life will be much happier if you take that energy and be for something. Don't be against racism. Be for unity or for waking people up. Don't be against hate. Be for love. And be pro thing, It's hard to be creative and hateful, And you can kind of tell in certain kinds of music, these guys just burn out after a while because it takes too much energy to just be rah, 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 whether it's headbanging, angry metal music or rap music, It sucks the energy out of you to be filled with I'm anti-establishment. Don't be anti-establishment. Be pro-freedom. Don't be anti-patriarchy. Be pro-getting out of Babylon. And I say this not because I've never been where you're sitting now. But my life was much angrier and much less productive when I was anti-stuff. When I was anti-racism and I was anti-white. Some people kind of think, oh, you're a real, you love white people so much. Why don't you marry one? But I went through my phase too of hating white people. And there's a lot of college people now graduating. I just saw a guy on did you see that video where it was a college professor, for crying out loud, asked a white guy, what's so great about being white? Give me one thing you like about being white. And he was setting him up. And the white guy was like, well, number one, I don't like to simplify the world into those terms. He goes, no. I can talk about what's great to be black. My culture, my community. What's great about being white? Saying one thing you like about being white. And I was like, that's so stupid. But there's a lot of white people too who graduate from college feeling ashamed. Oh, I hate my ancestors. I hate my history. I'm ashamed to be a white straight man. Because my people were responsible. It's like, you know what? That narrative is kind of dumb too. When you fake guilt for what your ancestors did, which I don't at all. And yeah, for the record, I do have German blood, and I still make Holocaust jokes. But what was I saying?
Something about being anti-patriarchy. Guilty white liberals.
Oh yeah. So you graduate from college and now, you're really anti-racism, anti-homophobia, anti-transphobia, anti-Christian, family values, whatever. And you might come from that culture. That's how you can tell that you've been brainwashed. If you hate yourself, by the time you get out of college, and I went through a very angry phase where I believed all my problems were because of boarding schools. And somebody just shared something about a boarding school or what they call a residential school in Canada, where they found the remains of 215 children. Children who the school would have claimed ran away, who just didn't survive going to school. I blamed the government and the residential boarding schools and assimilation of my grandparents. And then somehow their experience trickled down through my father and then to me. And I called it intergenerational trauma, historical trauma. And I was really angry for about 10 years. Then you get old and, your heart really breaks for something and it changes your opinion. And you start going, wait a second. I don't need to be angry at the past. And I got to quit blaming other people for my problems. Is it really the fault of the boarding school in 1920s that I don't like authority? When I stopped being anti whatever establishment, anti-school, anti-whatever, and I became pro what I like, so maybe I was mad that the boarding school robbed my grandparents of their language. Well, dummy, you can march and curse at God about the unfair treatment for the rest of your life, or why don't you learn the language, dummy? So I started learning the language. Then be pro. Okay, hey, you know what? This is really cool. It's really fun? Praying in Ojibwe. Take some time. Write a song in Ojibwe. Singing a song in Ojibwe is very fun. I'm very pro singing in Ojibwe. And then watch what happens. Watch how you cheer up. You'll start to see the world in a different way. I'm not saying everybody's going to have their own live stream, but if you can be pro something, be pro. Get into it. Love something. Don't worry about the things you hate. Ignore it. Oh, I hate racism. Yeah, who doesn't? Nobody likes it. Even racists don't like it. Come on. But you can preoccupy yourself every day. It's like watching a car crash and rewatching it over and re-traumatizing yourself. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, okay, this is really a gross example, but it's like the guy who's secretly gay, who keeps on sharing a video with his friends. Look at this disgusting thing. Can you believe those? Those guys should be shot. No, look at this. I'm so against all this gay stuff. Oh, man. No, you guys, look at this. I think we should try to ban this or something. Here, let me back it up. I'll show you this. So if you hate it so much, just ignore it. It doesn't have to have anything to do with you. Oh, but I gotta fight up. I gotta stand up for those who don't have a voice. Yeah. Let them fight their own battles. If I don't, smash out this Foot Locker front window, then how will we solve racism? It's like, okay, be pro something. You want to reform the cops? Be pro good cop. You know? Make their job obsolete. If you think cops are too mean and you're not... I would also ask you to just look at that for a second. Do you really think the cops are killing people of color at a higher rate than white people? Or have maybe you believe the propaganda? I don't know. Because what was it? I heard something. Like last year there were 14 unarmed black men who were killed by cops. I'm not even saying what they were doing, you know, but 14 guys were killed who were black. 25 guys who were white. Okay. You know, do cops hate white guys too? But also, that didn't seem like that much to me. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to be callous, but there are millions of people. I mean, how many people were killed last? I don't know. But anyway, if you hate the cops and you're anti-cop, and I used to be anti-cop too, believe it or not. I was afraid of them, so I hated them. But if you're anti-cop, become pro-good cop or pro-social worker or whatever you think the alternative to having a cop would be. If you're anti-guns, you know, be pro-whatever is the alternative to guns. You know, be pro-spear. Be pro-bow and arrow. Be pro-cop. That's what I don't get, too. I do get it, because I used to be it. I used to be anti-gun and anti-cop. I didn't want the cops in my town, and I didn't want to be able to defend myself either. And now you go, okay, if you're going to pass an anti-gun law and an anti-cop law, who are you going to get to go gather up the guns? You know, you're going to send social workers into armed people's homes? You know, I used to work with the social workers. They're like 99% women. Some frumpy middle-aged lady. Oh, excuse me. I'm from Northland Social Services. We're here for your guns. You know, she's in the hood. I don't know. So be pro whatever you love. And that's the trick to a happy life. Graduates of 2021, go forth and sin no more. Huh, sweetie? That's right. Okay. What's going on down here? Papa Wagosh says, Matthew 7:1. All right, Papa Wagosh is pulling out the Bible verses. Thank you. Judge not, lest ye be judged. To promote a tolerance that often encourages acceptance of behaviors the Bible forbids. Don't know if that was Jesus' intention. That's an excellent point. People have taken the Bible out of context. Oh, judge not, lest ye be judged. So don't judge, don't discriminate at all. And they keep pushing that line. And you go, oh yeah, well, you know, in my day, Elvis Presley was considered very risque. So now, Little Nas X, or whatever his name is, same thing. Judge not. It's like, no, forget it. I'm judging it. This guy was on Sesame Street, and now he releases a video to his fans who are Sesame Street viewers. The satanic music video of him doing gay acts to Satan. Yeah, I'm going to judge that. Sorry, I judge it as bad. Don't let your kids see that. It's gross. Oh, how can you say that? Are you homophobic? That's your label. What I saw in that video, there's not enough bleach I could pour in my eyes. Yeah, I'm anti whatever that is. Phobic, I'm afraid of... Ugh. Yeah, I'm sodomy phobic. Jessica says, these things from the past are outrageous and heartbreaking. They should be. But we can't live as though it is still happening personally to us. Or blame people who had nothing to do with it. That's the other thing. Yeah, I think it was Jess that shared that. She's talking about the boarding schools and those children. Yeah, it totally, I teared up when I read that article. And, when I was in college, I would say, yeah, see right there. You're crying over the deaths of hundreds of children. That's historical trauma, intergenerational trauma. It's like, well, and my heart. I think white people are going to, and black people will cry over the idea that children went to a boarding school and died. I don't know if it was murder, neglect, disease, whatever. But they ended up being buried away from their families. They didn't get to grow up. Thanks. Now I am bummed out. Papa Go says, the math doesn't lie. Math don't lie. Yeah. Always Learning says, I have noticed the media wants to push anti-racism so much, yet every election all you hear about is who is getting the African American vote and who is getting the Latino votes. Why keep categorizing? Yeah, exactly. Everything's anti-racism because these racists assume that's the number one issue for people who are not white. Those are the only real racists I've ever known. The people who assume that all people of color share this one belief that they are victims of racism. So they're pandering. That's why they keep it alive. And that's why they brainwash everybody. Because they think they will get all the votes from that group. And sadly, I think it works. I just heard this too. California, before Ronald Reagan, in the good old days from the 1980s, was always a Republican state. They were a red state. And because they were a wealthy state, that's where the millionaires lived, the movie stars. And the people became millionaires related to the Hollywood. And the richest people in the world, who wanted to live in a place that's perpetually summer. California used to be nice. And then Ronald Reagan gets elected. And he was a Republican, so what happened? But now, you see what California is. That'll be Democrat forever. And it's all, and racism, and homophobia, and anti-immigration. Just hating Americans. Hating a regular guy goes, wait, what? You mean we don't have a border? A wall? Why don't we have a wall? You racist? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I just assumed. Okay, well, I guess we don't need it, huh? But again, college and liberalism will teach you to be anti. I'm anti-blank. And that makes me a good person. Oh, that's another thing. P.S., graduates. Quit virtue signaling. In the real world, I know it feels good online, and I do this too, when I get a lot of people agree with me. And you kind of want to go, hey, by the way, did my part. Don't forget to recycle. I voted, whatever the thing is that you want to get a pat on the back. Be pro something, whatever the thing is that you love, and you're going to get plenty of pats on the back. Just like we were talking yesterday. Find out what you love. Use that thing you love to help somebody you love. Yeah, exactly. And then people will give you a pat on the back. And when you grow up, and I know this is insulting to college graduates. Oh, look at me, I'm 22 years old. But when you grow up, it doesn't mean anything that people think you're a good person. Just be a good person. A virtue signaling person, like somebody who just pretends to be outraged. Black Lives Matter. So, That doesn't mean anything. You know, you're just trying to rile up people. Nobody's going to give you a gold star in the real world. You're all on your own. So I guess my commencement speech has turned into me just kind of dogging on the millennials again. It's like, la la la. Tell the truth. Tell the OJIBWE. And otherwise, have a good time. Oh, here's the good news. Okay, this is what they don't. All right, just in case the graduates think I'm not on their side. I mean, I know I've been sounding kind of like an old codger and kind of a, grumpy old man. But here's a secret that the financial aid office doesn't want you to know. You know those student loans you've taken out? Don't pay them. You don't have to pay on them if you don't want to. And you'll say, oh, what do you mean? What if I default? They might garnish my wages. Yeah, certain jobs in certain states, they may just take it right out of your paycheck. But your employer has to agree to that. It's a big pain. It'll be years of them hassling you for your student loans. But eventually, if you never pay on your student loans, or if you pay for a while and then give up, like I did, what they say, your credit rating will be destroyed. Oh no, I can't buy a new car. Oh no, I can't buy a house. Oh no, I can't, no credit cards for me. But then 7 years will go by and you'll have not charged anything. And you'll have paid for everything, lived within your means for 7 years. Then your credit rating comes right back. And so this is what I did. It really haunted me for years. I was so afraid, like, what's going to happen? I didn't pay on my student loans. They can't take back your degree. And you shouldn't be getting into more debt anyway. Just wait. Now, if I want to go buy a house or a car, I got good credit, I can do it now. Well, I probably can't now because I don't have a full-time job. But, in theory, your credit rating comes back if you don't keep making it worse. So if you graduate and you get a minimum wage job, and your monthly loans are $700 a month, don't be an idiot. You don't have to pay on them. It's going to be okay. You'll be all right. No credit is not the end of the world. You'll be all right. Always Learning says, Jessica says, exactly, these people refuse to just call everyone American and actually treat them as equals. Acting like everyone who isn't a white Anglo is a marginalizing victim is actually demeaning. Yeah, exactly. And I've been on the receiving end of that with even people of color. I was at a conference once in California. And I was at a table with, I used to work for TRIO, student services thing, a college program for first generation college students. And so all of us counselors got together this big, annual meeting, from all over the country. And I'm at this table with people who grew up in the projects, grew up in, Compton, inner city Chicago, Gary, Indiana, whatever. Tough living. And, they all had a story. And then it came to me and I told them where I was from. And their mouths opened like, they heard about reservations. And then they all kind of deferred to me like I came from a much worse place than, straight out of Compton. I was like, you guys, you only saw one movie on reservations. And you think we all look like, Pine Ridge. And yeah, if you only read the statistics and you listened to the college professors and you only read Black Elk Speaks or whatever. But anyway, all these people were just convinced I came from the worst place in the world. Like, no, you guys, you would think I came from a paradise. But yeah, it is so demeaning to just assume that because a person's poor and not 100% white, that we were somehow depressed and oppressed. No. I would not trade my upbringing for anybody's. Papa Wago says, well, they give you a street. They give you a street. Yeah. Yeah, let's get a street. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Smile on your Niji. Zumin Gweni. Gaiji Niji. Zumin Gweni. Gaiji Niji. Smile at your brother. And Jessica says, and charging people thousands of dollars to brainwash them is fraud. That's the other thing. Don't feel guilty if you can't afford your loan, because they're going to make you feel guilty. Hey, you promised to pay us back. It's like, did I? You gave me a 300-page document to borrow $2,000. No, I never read it. I was sitting at your desk. I just signed my name. You sent money to this college. I signed up for classes. The whole system is kind of based on me not feeling how much money I'm spending for these classes. You want $1,000 for us to read, for me to read on my own, poetry? Okay. But, let's take a women's studies class. $1,000, please. We're going to meet 3 times a week for 1 hour for 9 weeks. And you're going to have to read a bunch of stuff on your own and buy your own books. And, but, I'll give you a lecture once a day. Oh, good. That sounds fair. And then also, here's my other last, graduates, here's another thing about college. So you borrow this money, and then you might have even noticed how how all that good financial aid runs out, and you still got another semester to go. And you go, well, I've made it this far, I might as well just borrow some more money and get through it. Because when I graduate, I can get a good job that will make it easy for me to pay my student loans back. And with that job, I will buy a house and a car that'll transport me and my family. But then you get out and you realize, nobody cares about a liberal arts major in English literature. I'm a dime a dozen of people who went through college. Because the point of college, I think now, was probably, what makes a good employee? Not somebody, they're not thinking, he'll go to college and then he'll know how to read and write well. He'll know how to work hard. It isn't just to weed out lazy people. It's also to make sure you have an employee who is deep in debt. If you're deep in debt, you can't quit. You'll accept any pay because your loans are going to be due in 6 months here. You take the first job you get, and you're going to work at this job like your life depends on it, because it does. You're going to feel like, if I don't do well at this job, I won't be able to pay my student loans back. And if I have bad credit or something, then I'll lose my job and I'll be homeless. And I won't be able to get a good wife, because if I can't afford a good car, my whole life will go down the drain if I lose this job. And that makes for a pretty efficient worker, somebody who'll put up with your boss's nonsense. He's not just going to quit his job so he can, do a live stream. So, this is how far you are. Now you're deep in debt, and Oh, but the colleges, they're under no obligation to you now. They never, now think back, did they ever really promise? Or was that your family that said you'd have a good job if you went to college? Because high school grads, if you're thinking about going to college and you're thinking, well, I want a good job, think about how much money you'll have in 4 years if you work full time. If you're a guy who's worked at any job for 4 years, you're like, one of the main contributing people. You'll be on a first name basis with the boss, and you'll be supervising people if you've been there for 4 years. Anything. And there's a lot of jobs, especially if you're just like a nice kid who's willing to work for minimum. Just go up to any job. Maybe even says, oh, we're looking for college grads. And you go, hey, you know what? I've always wanted to work in advertising. And, I'm a pretty smart kid, hard worker, and I learn well. If you give me a chance, see what I can do. Well, they might have some of the jobs they don't want to do. It's like, well, let that kid try his hand at writing copy for advertising. Let him take his camera out and maybe he could take some pictures. You probably have a dream. Oh, I want to be a photographer. I'm going to go to college and study photography. Well, or buy a camera and study photography on your own. Just take pictures. The money you don't pay in tuition, you can buy camera equipment. Then go to the newspaper. Say, hey, I'm a great photographer. And he may say, oh, what college did you go to? Just, look at my pictures, man. This is why everybody loves rock stars and movie stars and writers and artists. These are jobs you don't need to go to college for. In fact, it really doesn't matter at all. Nobody's going to buy your album based on which college you went to and studied music at. Oh, who are you listening to? Oh, I forget, but he went to Harvard Music or whatever. Juilliard School of Music. Oh, he must be good. Or how about this guy? Oh, he never went anywhere. What's his name? Jimi Hendrix. Eddie Van Halen. Mozart. Michelangelo. Michelangelo didn't go to art school. Hitler didn't even go to art school. Bet you Van Gogh probably went to art school. Papa Go says, no guarantee to get a job, but you've paid thousands of dollars for what? How is it not a scam? Yeah, it really is. Do I just come right out now and say college is a scam?
Yeah, you can. Do you believe that?
Kinda.
Well, then go ahead and say it.
College is a scam. But it's a scam I'm kind of proud that I went to. Like, I don't mind. I'm glad I went. Okay, here's the other side of that. You can go to college because, borrow the money knowing you're just going to not pay it back. If you want to go meet college kids and have opportunities to, play in a rock band, work at the college newspaper. If you're an athlete, maybe you get to, this is your last shot at playing organized sports. But, otherwise you're just jumping through hoops. They're not going to let you be a teacher unless it's in OJIBWE, unless you have a license. If you want to teach OJIBWE, you don't need a license. Huh, Michael? Yeah, I never got a license. Yeah. There's so few OJIBWE speakers, and every school has an OJIBWE program in northern Minnesota anyway. Probably in Wisconsin too, Red Lake has a hard time finding OJIBWE teachers. Well, I guess probably because they want someone with a license. But if you just, be like Michael, you want to, you say you want to be a teacher, you want to be an OJIBWE language teacher, go to a principal. Go to PTA meetings, stand up, say, hey, you know what? I've been studying OJIBWE for 10 years. My grandma would only speak OJIBWE to me. I could really do a good job here. They'll figure out a way. You know, the people who make the rules can break the rules. They can rewrite the rules. So be pro something. And, you know, maybe some of you really want to be students, really are pro working hard and reading and philosophizing and writing. And you want to be a scholar. You want that classical experience of being in a library late at night and writing stuff, you know. Then go to college, you know. Why not? It doesn't necessarily have to hurt you. Pablo says, I can find everything that is found in college online for free. Only thing you get is a piece of paper. Well, I can buy that on eBay. Exactly. Jessica says, you shouldn't borrow money with the intent of not paying it back, though. Yeah, that's true. That's also part of the problem. It shouldn't cost so much that a loan is required. It teaches irresponsibility from the start. Oh, yeah, you're right. Don't go to college. I never paid back my student loan, but I assumed I would. I just couldn't afford it. And as it turned out, it didn't hurt me. But, yeah, when my dad went to college in the early 1970s, you could pay for your whole year's tuition from your summer job. You have to work all summer, but then college was like $1,000 or $500 for the year, full time. And then you would get grants and Indian scholarship and whatever. My dad never took out any loans at all. And, but then year by year, they keep raising the price and they keep making it more more possible through loans to people who will never pay it back. You know, and you know how they're always trying to like recruit people of color, Indians and black people and stuff. And they'll say, you know, we'll give you scholarships and special, you know, whatever. And they will to a degree, but they'll also just make it possible for you to borrow $10,000 when you're 18 years old. Oh yeah, get your dad to sign in this line. We'll take his house too. You know. And then after so many years, now college, people are graduating with $60,000 in debt. And it's gotten so complicated that no normal person really knows what they're getting into. You know, because if you don't pay it, you've agreed to this. And at 18, if you could understand the paperwork they give you, you would learn that if you don't pay it back on time with so much whatever, and all the interest, that your $2,000 loan can very quickly be turned into $10,000. And that can quickly be turned into $50,000. And you're somehow looking at $50,000 of debt when originally you borrowed $2,000. And you go, what kind of scam, what sort of loan operation is this? I think the mob would be more compassionate. You know, they would just break your legs, you know. Always Learning says, trade school often provide better paying jobs with less time for school and a lot less debt. Yeah, I also went to a trade school. We called them Votex when I was a kid. And there, you know what, I studied graphic arts. I didn't know what graphic arts was until I studied it. But it was 1 year, and I learned everything I needed to know to work in the printing industry. How to run presses, how to do the pre-press production, how to do bindery, a little bit of sales. It was 8 hours a day for 11 months. And so when I got my first job, I was ready to be an employee of that place, sort of. And that job, that school paid for itself over and over again. You know, to this day, well, you know, like with Michael's books, you're going to know a lot about printing if you're going to be a children's book author. And so, whatever. Papa Wagosh says, the prices increase and the quality of education decreases. Oh, it totally decreases too, because you're right. You said earlier about it, everything you need to know you can learn online. Yeah. I mean, what is college even worth now when we have YouTube? I learned so much more from YouTube than I ever did in college. And I'm not even trying to be funny. Papa goes, and required to take classes that have nothing to do with your study. Mm-hmm. Are you telling me women's studies had nothing to do with English literature? How about when I took astronomy or life sciences? For a week, I understood how to process oil because I took a class. Papa Gosh says, I went to the Navy. I was told what to learn. Yeah. And there, if you don't learn it, your ship sinks. There's practical consequences to not learning when you're in the military. If you don't learn what you're supposed to, you die. Jessica says, why to go to college when we can learn from NANABOOZHOO? Yes, thank you. Yeah, what more do you want, kids? You can learn about Moses having horns, right? Moses had horns. You can learn about Michelangelo was a handsome devil with a nice beard himself. Mike Angelo, he also liked to go by. And, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. My theory that Michelangelo was, in fact, the angel Michael from the Bible. Because this is superhuman powers. Only an angel with not superhuman, and with angelic powers could carve hands like that. So realistic. And so photo accurate to what Moses actually looked like. Somehow. So you get a little art history, a little language, and a little music. Huh? How's that for a segue? That's pretty good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let Natasha come up here. You want to come up, sweetie? Sure. Natasha, the lovely and talented, will be up here after this song by NANABOOZHOO and the Jets. What? I don't know. So you want to learn OJIBWE, language and culture. You've come to the right place, need you to learn about it all. Welcome to NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about OJIBWE language and culture. Boozhoo, NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about OJIBWE language and culture. Okay. Okay, hey, Boozhoo. Hi, everybody. So you want to learn OJIBWE. Boozhoo, Papa Wagosh. Don't open the window on a submarine. Yeah, those are the kind of things you learn in the Navy. And Jessica's Boozhoo, Jessica. And now he's assuming the identity of Michael Lyons. But you can tell he's actually Michelangelo because he's still such a talented artist. Nah. Did you hear that, Michael? I would never compare myself to Michelangelo. Yeah, you totally didn't. Rockstar cartoonist, though. Okay. First page of Michael's autobiography comic book called Rockstar Cartoonist, available now on Amazon.com.
On the first page of that is Michael's first day of his life. And there's a drawing of Michelangelo and his soul leaving his body saying, no, it's God saying, see you next life, or enjoy this life, Michelangelo. I mean, Michael Lyons. You wish you were Michelangelo. Anyway, so yeah. So great to be here on this Gazibigi Saganake Geisha Good. On this floor washing day. I wonder if I'll get around to washing the floor. I don't know. I might. I say it every Saturday, but most of the time I don't get around to it. And what else did we learn today? Ishtada is go to. Majada is to leave. Majada. A lot of people know Mahjong, because Indian people around here are always like, come on, it's time to Mahjong. But Majada is let's leave. Ijtada. Ijda. I can't say it. Ijada. Ijada is go to. Let's go to. Let's go to Bemidji. Was the gibberish? Let me pull that up again. I want to say Ijtada. Ijada. I can't talk. Ijada. Bemidji Gamug. Let's go to Bemidji. Hey, sweetie, Ijada. Bemidji Gamug. We're already here, sweetie. Well, all right. Let's go to Bemidji, Ajidamu. Should we tell the Ajidamus to go to Bemidji?
I'd be happy if I could just get them to quit crawling on our roof.
I know. Well, I think they're using the, under the little eave there, whatever it's called. They've built a nest.
Yeah, I know. I think the guy's going to fix the floor. He said he'll fix that too.
Yeah, is he ever going to come back?
I don't know. He said a couple of weeks and it's been a month.
Hey, repair guy, remember us? Anyway. So we learned that. Oh, and we also learned how to count to 10. Beijig, Nij, Neswe, Niwin, Nanin, Ningod Waswi. Or, as it's written here, Nin Od Waswi, Nij Waswi, Nish Waswi. Some tribes, or some reses call 8 Ish Waswi. And then 9 is Jangaswi and Madaswi. Counting to 10. Oh, it's so informative. I learned more on one episode of BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO than I learned in all of college.
Really?
No. But I forgot everything I learned in college. It's been too many years. Like, I still remember the name of the college. I can remember about 3 friends' names. Did a lot of partying back in the day. I don't remember it so well. So, yeah. And anything else I need to cover? Holy man, it's 9:26 already. Should we call that a show?
We could, unless you want to tell a story or anything.
Do I have a story to tell? Saturday. It's a Memorial Day weekend. Probably going to go to Bina this weekend, huh?
Yeah, on Monday.
Go to Bina on Monday. Nah, I guess maybe we should just call it a show.
All right.
Okay, guys. Well, I want to say, miigwech, bizendawieg. Thank you for listening. And miigwech, ganawabieg for watching BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about, where am I? Ojibwe language and culture. I just made myself disappear. And I am Natasha. You know what? I don't want to be disappeared yet. Bing. I am Natasha. This is NANABOOZHOO.
Bonjour.
This is Michael Lyons.
Hello.
And we'll be back tomorrow for prayer day. And at like 8 o'clock or sometime. And if I can do this in a good way, I'm going to teleport out of here. GOFUNDME! That didn't work.